Okay, it's recording. Yeah, I think we can start with some updates. Oh, hi, Silas.
How's it going?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, good. I've had conflicts the last couple, so glad I could join this one.
Oh, nice seeing
Cool.
you.
Happy New
New
Year.
Year's.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, so I think we can start with some updates. So from my side, I created a pull request with the simple CI, like running tests and builds for every commit, but like for main and for pull request, like building the Docker and pushing to the GitHub registry. So really basic. From the original repo from Container Solutions, Sebastian finished the Azure backend, Azure Key Vault. So we merged that end of the year. And I'm finishing, probably will merge the cred stash 1. And yeah, we'll have this two. And when we can just migrate to the new repo. I think, let me just check. Yeah. I'm also trying to implement a tilt setup to improve like developer experience. It's not a priority, but I was messing around during the vacation. And yeah, if it's interesting and I'll try on the old repo, then I can also do that on the new one.
Nice.
And I think that's it from my side.
Oh, nice, thanks. So from my side, I reviewed two PRs from. Goddamn. Sorry, I'm just cleaning my screen here. Yeah, I reviewed two PRs from Kellen. So basically, there's one to add the initial Helm chart, which it did, and it's approved and it's merged. And there's another one basically breaking the project into a multi-group API from QBuilder and also adding the cluster secret store. So we had a little discussion there, and I think we're going to merge it after this. I'm just going to take a look at his answers and merge that. Bits ago, now 40 minutes ago, I added the PR for the controller logic. Sorry for taking so long to do that, but it's there. So the main controller logic for the secret store, the external secrets, actually, the resource is there. There's still some to do, some testing and some other things, but at least you can check it out and see how it works. The inspiration came mostly from the is contained project. So basically, I took most of the data from there since we were using the same interface for the providers from there. So I just grab most of the code from there, and there's still some little things to do, but it's working. And well, once we merge that, we can start implementing the providers, AWS, GCP, whatever. So yeah, getting there.
Cool.
So if anyone wants to take a look, the pipeline just failed because of like a gold linked thing. So I'm just gonna check it out and do a little push before, but the code it's working. And if anyone wants to take a look, I'd appreciate it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Awesome. So is that merge request ready to review, or is it work in progress?
I think I put a whip, but I think it's ready to reveal because I think the things that is on that list of to-dos, they don't change the main logic. One thing though is that if we merge that PR breaking apart to the API groups, I'm going to need to just do some reworking on the structure of files of this PR. So even I think I'm going to flag as that work in progress just to merge that before, because it's totally going to need to do some changes here.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. From my side, I was on vacation, so not much happening there. I I reviewed one merge request from Kellen. He did a slight change in the CRD spec. It's a quite important one, I think. Just to mention it shortly here. The refresh time, which was should be stateless, is now maintained in the status field in the CRD on the custom resource. So the controller then can be completely stateless. I think that was an important one. And other thing was to use the standard condition schema, which was changed recently. I can just put a link to the pull request in the chat. I think that's it was new for me. I didn't know that was standardized recently. Yeah, it might be interesting for you. Yeah, that was pretty much it from my side.
Cool. Are those fields from the conditions already changed on the code as well, or just on the spec?
I don't think it was changed in the
Cool.
controller yet.
Cool. I'm just gonna add then an issue on. I'm gonna create an issue here just to implement that. I'm gonna first talk because there was this Helm that we merged. I don't know if there's anything in there. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to Kalin before because he might have done this in the PR for the cluster store. But if not, I'm gonna open an issue just to sync this back with the implementation in the code.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
I haven't done anything, but I had a couple of questions and things to discuss. One, and like, sure you guys have discussed this before, and I apologize for being out of the loop. It sounds like we're converging on, or looks like we're converging on the external secrets repo. Is sort of the, okay, cool. And then what's the plan for the old GoDaddy repo? Well, eventually that'll get archived. Is that sort of?
So I think we wanted to have the stars just at least to have like a little bit more visibility. So I believe that the plan was to keep this second repo until you get to a more stable point, and then push this repo into the other one. So basically make a branch named V2 on the GoDaddy one.
I see, okay.
The code there, and then merge into main on that.
That makes sense.
I think that's the plan. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. And then one thing that like one problem we ran into, or not, it wasn't really a problem, it was more of a maintainer hassle or pitfall with Kubernetes external secrets, is we got many requests for different types of providers, and oftentimes we get an initial contribution of one, but like we didn't have a core set of maintainers that was familiar with every single provider, and that became cumbersome when you got bug reports. Like we didn't have Azure environments or GCP environments or Vault set up to be able to test those. And so we had talked, Marcus and I, just like very briefly about having a way for people to build and maintain those providers independent of the main repo. And so having like an API that would allow the core controller to call some type of external container to implement a provider. So just like wanted to throw that out there and see if you guys had run into a similar problem before and had thought of that, or if you thought there is any merit in thinking about that approach.
Yeah. So one thing that I think, I just sent a link on the chat as well. So on the external DNS project, they do have a bunch of different providers, right? Because they interface with a lot of DNS providers. And what they do, they have this status. So basically they have like stable, which is maintained by them, and it's like production ready and whatever. And then they classify the providers in different phases. They have beta and they have alpha. So basically the alpha is like, this is a community provided, we actually not supporting it. And if you have any bug reports, understand that it's not stable in our platform. So I think with time we could just think about like the 3 or 4 bigger ones to be the stable and actively maintained by the whole community, the whole maintainers here. and the other ones that come from other people, it's on beta or alpha stage. So you can create some categorization like that.
I see. And then maintainers would still be a gate for the unsupported providers.
Yeah.
Like we would still merge that into.
Exactly. And if someone comes with a bug, you just say like, hey, this is an alpha provider with like, if you want something to be solved, it might take some time, or it can reach this one, this person, and whatever. So you can just route that conversation.
Okay, that seems like an easy thing to try. And then the third thing that is somewhat of a request from the open source office at GoDaddy is to write a blog post. And so wondering if there was any interest to collaborate on a blog post, just an update to say, hey, we've working on merging projects. Here's why, here's the new location, here's the plan. I'd be happy to like start with something there, and anyone who wanted to is welcome to contribute. But wanted to throw that out there and see if there was any interest, or people had already started thinking about that.
Yeah, and we also have that on our roadmap at Attendees Solutions, so that would be nice to collaborate and like work on something together. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Put us in the loop for sure. I'd like to contribute.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Should we, if I wanted to kick that off or someone else ends up kicking that off, is there a place in the org where it'd be good just to start with the markdown file? How do we like just process-wise want to start authoring a post?
Maybe like a Google Doc file that you can share between whoever's interested. I think you can reach out to us on the Kubernetes Slack and just get our emails and just share it like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that sounds good. I'll add it to my to-do list. I'm not quite sure when I'll get to it, but when I do, I'll start a doc and share it in the channel.
Cool, perfect.
That's it for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have something. It's a discussion that started at the Container Solutions external secret operator, but I think it's relevant for the new one as well. It's about like where, like namespace wise, where would the resources be, and like if the secret store resource and the secrets that it has access to stays in the namespace that the app has access, it's bad, right? Because the secret store is the thing that has access to the provider, like with access to the API. So this is a problem that we had with our external secret operator, and I'm thinking if we just wondering if we are thinking about that on the new one as well. Jojo, is that also? I didn't look over the PR, but is that something that you had to consider while writing the main loop?
So far not, because we were waiting for the implementation of the cluster secret store to do these differences. And with this PR from Colin, then it comes to that. So I don't think we actually gave it a thought on that. I think we had something on the spec though, relating to namespaces. But I do agree with you that this can be a security issue. And the store should be like more secure, right? Should be maybe in its like on the controller's namespace, or even like in a different space. Maybe like in the controller namespace is good enough. But if you have like you can also have a cluster one, right? If you have a cluster one, then it's available for all the namespaces to manage all secrets in all namespaces.
Yeah.
So I think for the secrets store of the cluster, we can make by default putting on the same namespace as controller, and at least for now, or anyone defined by the user, right? So whatever the user wants, but not on the default. And for the cluster, then it's not namespace. So
yeah.
What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, just bringing that discussion here as well, because yeah, we started that on ours. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, so essentially it's a problem when you share the controller with different namespaces that create the external secrets, right?
Yeah.
So how it is solved right now is with an annotation on the namespace. So the namespace has a certain annotation that says, okay, this namespace is allowed to talk to this or that provider or that wildcard match of a provider or regular expressions or whatnot. We could potentially just copy over that logic to make it somewhat compatible.
Okay.
But
But where does the credentials for like AWS, like an example, where does it sit?
Well, it depends on the deployment, right?
But yeah.
In my case, the credentials are inferred from the environment. Like we're using AWS, and it's inferred via the EC2 instance metadata API, and there are just short-lived credentials. I think you just need to. Well, if you have a shared controller, you have that in a different namespace, most likely, and this namespace somehow has access to credentials, or it's stored somewhere. We don't care where it is. It just has to be configurable somehow. And you just need to limit the control of who has access to a certain provider.
Yeah. And there's even the secrets containing the keys to access the provider, right? The secrets like with the data for the authentication as well. So there's also this resource that needs to be. This resource is created by the user, right? But we also need to think about, or at least on the documentation say like this secret must be configured in something like somewhere more safe and specific than just putting anywhere.
Yeah.
We can raise like an issue on the spec as well, and then we can put our considerations there on how we want to manage all those resources regarding namespaces.
Okay.
Okay, I can do that as well. Cool, I'm just adding to my to-do here. Perfect. Cool. I can do that as well. Nice. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I also plan to look over the PRs that are open to see if I can find something, if I can add. When the main loop is merged, I plan to start migrating the backends.
Perfect. Cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
I think I'm good. I think all my actions is to sync the CRG and this issue, and then just taking the work in progress status out of that PR, and then having the main loop merged as soon as possible.
Cool. Perfect. Dan, thanks for joining.
All right.
Cool. Thank you.
See you, folks.
See ya.
All right. Cheers.
Take care.
Enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye.